Let me tell you something that'll make you want to double-check your own backyard tonight. Because if you'd asked me 6 months ago what real evil looked like, I'd have said it's just a story folks whisper about after dark. I'd never have pictured my disabled daughter's muffled cries fading under a shovel full of dirt. Never thought I'd run out that door, heart pounding, only to see HOA Karen herself, moonlight flickering across her twisted face, pink gloves smeared with mud, whispering, "You don't belong in this neighborhood." Yeah, that happened. And the craziest part? The ground itself refused to let her get away with it. I was just seconds too late, sprinting through dew-wet grass when the earth trembled, like it was having none of Karen's cruelty. That shovel slipped from her hands. She flinched, eyes wide, as the ground cracked open right beneath her feet, letting out this deep, hollow sound that chilled me straight to the bone. And what came up out of that earth, what she'd spent decades trying to hide, was about to change not just my family, but this entire neighborhood forever. So before I take you any deeper, just drop your city below, will you? I need to know I'm not alone in this, because what you're about to hear, well, it's the kind of story that makes you question what's buried in your own neighborhood. And if you're new here, don't just sit there, hit that subscribe button, because trust me, this is one ride you'll want to see to the end. Name's Daniel, single dad to Emily, who's 12, born with a neurological condition that keeps her legs from moving, but her spirit? Untouchable. We moved into Willow Creek Estates, hoping for some peace. Guess nobody told us that peace and Karen Moore, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, don't exactly mix. At first, it was petty stuff. Letters about the color of our wheelchair ramp, fines for Emily's therapy sessions being too loud, a nasty note about how unsightly it looked from the street. I let it go, thinking it'd blow over. But Karen never let anything go. For her, rules were oxygen. When that wasn't enough, she made up new ones just to squeeze us a little tighter. It started with a letter, gold leaf emblem, fancy paper, but the message might as well have been a threat. Remove the ramp or face daily fines. That ramp wasn't for show. It was my girl's ticket to the world. I tried to reason with Karen that night, but the way she opened her door, like she was bracing for battle, and the bleachy scent inside, all plastic flowers and cold, fake smiles, I knew then she'd already decided we didn't belong. Next came photos of our ramp, circled in angry red ink, a $250 fine attached. She strutted into the next HOA meeting, waving those photos, making me feel like a criminal in front of everyone. Exceptions weaken the system, she said, looking right through us. Most folks just stare at the floor. Only Mr. Hawthorne, old man with a soft voice, leaned over after and whispered, "You're not the first she's bullied." But Emily loved our garden, the swing where she painted, the kittens she fed each morning. So I dug in my heels and put up cameras. That's when things got real dark real fast. Emily's wheelchair tires slashed. Red paint splattered across our front doors, spelling out freaks. Cops came, shrugged, could be kids. But every morning after, there was Karen, sipping coffee on her porch, pink nails glinting in the sun, smirking like she already owned the verdict. The last straw was overhearing her tell another board member, "If that girl can't walk, maybe she shouldn't live here. This place isn't built for people like her." That night, I just sat by Emily's bed, listening to her breathe, promising myself nothing would hurt her on my watch. But then we woke up to freshly dug soil behind our fence, tiny shoe prints leading straight to it. That evening, the air pressed down heavy, streetlights flickered, shadows swayed on Emily's wall while she painted butterflies and flowers, trying to ignore the tension. "Dad," she asked as I tucked her in, "why does Miss Karen hate us so much?" My heart broke. How do you explain hate to a child who still believes everyone is good inside? Midnight, sharp clang outside. On the cameras, a figure in dark clothes, pink gloves, dragging a shovel behind the fence. Karen. At first I figured maybe she was planting a sign or marking her territory again. But she kept digging deeper and deeper, then stared straight into my camera, lips mouthing, "Watch me." I called the police. "She's not on your property, sir. We'll send someone in the morning." That wasn't good enough. I slipped outside, flashlight in hand. Through the hedge, I watched as Karen built a pit, rectangular, methodical, and right beside it, Emily's favorite blanket, the one from her wheelchair. Karen's phone rang, and I caught her hiss, "Tomorrow before dawn," when she feeds the cats. My blood froze. That's when a branch snapped under my shoe. Karen's head snapped up, eyes locked on mine. "Out for a midnight stroll, Mr. Daniels?" I didn't answer, just backed away, locked every door, watched the monitors till sunrise. When morning finally came, Emily was on the porch, feeding the kittens, humming. But when I looked toward that patch of earth, I saw it. Her little toy unicorn, half buried in fresh dirt. My stomach dropped. This wasn't over. That morning was too still, too quiet, like the whole block was holding its breath. I stood in the kitchen, coffee forgotten, eyes glued to the fence. Then I saw Karen, black shirt, gold collar, garden gloves, shovel in hand, moving slow as a shadow. My phone buzzed. It was Mr. Hawthorne. "I saw Karen with a tarp by your yard before dawn. Keep Emily inside." I dropped the phone. Emily's wheelchair was empty, kittens scattered, porch deserted. Panic ripped through me. Emily. Running, stumbling into the backyard. That's when I heard it, a muffled, desperate cry from behind the fence. I vaulted over, hands splintered by the old wood, and saw the nightmare I'll never unsee. Karen, knee-deep in the pit, shoveling dirt onto my daughter. Emily's face streaked with tears, arms trembling, struggling to claw herself out. "Stop!" I screamed. Karen spun, pointing the shovel like a weapon. Eyes wild, hair stuck to her face, screeching, "She's ruining everything. Our property values, our peace. You're insane." I lunged, but she jabbed the shovel into the mud, trapping my jeans. I fell, just as thunder rumbled across the sky, the air buzzing like it was about to break open. Karen raised the shovel again over Emily. "No one will ever know," she spat. "I'll make it look like an accident." But right then, the ground rebelled. The earth cracked open, tossing Karen backwards, shovel flying from her hands. The pit walls trembled, a blinding flash of light splitting the dirt. I lunged, grabbed Emily's arm, yanked her free as the pit collapsed, mud and bones tumbling out of the ground. When the dust settled, Karen was flat on her back, eyes fixed in horror, not on us, but on what the earth had just spit up. Bones, old, brittle, tangled in a necklace with the initials K. M. Karen crawled backward, shaking, muttering, "Not her. Not again." I pressed Emily close, heart hammering, trying to shield her from the truth. "Karen, what is this?" I asked, voice barely steady. She didn't answer, just whispered. She was supposed to stay buried. Her eyes went wild, desperate, and she screamed, "You don't understand. I was just a kid." The ground shifted again, bones rattling. "She never stopped haunting me," Karen sobbed. "My sister, Lily. She fell in this yard when we were kids." I panicked, buried her instead of calling for help. I thought if I hid it, no one would blame me. The realization hit. Karen had spent her whole life running this neighborhood, burying her own guilt under layers of rules and cruelty. The earth rumbled harder, splitting the pit open, and Karen's legs sank in. I pulled Emily back as the ground collapsed, but not before I saw it, a rusted bracelet to Karen from Lily. Karen howled. "You think I hate your daughter?" "No." She smiles like Lily did. It's her face in my dreams. Lightning struck the oak tree, thunder shaking the pit one final time. I dragged Emily away as the hole caved in, half burying Karen. Rain pouring down, the earth finally swallowing her secret. The storm eased, rain washing the mud and horror away. Emily looked up at me, whispering. The ground stopped shaking when she told the truth. Sirens blared, neighbors gathered behind police tape, faces pale and silent. The cops pulled Karen up, cuffed her, bundled her into a cruiser. Her hot pink gloves traded for cold steel. Detective Hughes met me at the barrier, shaking his head. "In 20 years, I've never seen anything like this." They lifted the bones out with reverence, a faded locket still shining in the dirt. She confessed, said it was her sister, Lily. Disappeared 50 years ago. Across the street, reporters shouted, HOA president arrested for murder. The irony stung. The woman who ruled by fear, undone by the one secret she couldn't control. Security footage backed up my story. Karen with the shovel, moving toward my daughter. The DA hit her with everything. Attempted murder, child endangerment, concealment of a body. The HOA dissolved overnight. Neighbors lined up with their own stories. Hidden fines, threats, little tyrannies finally dragged into the light. That night, Willow Creek finally felt different. Kids played outside again. Neighbors chatted. Laughter replaced whispers. Emily and I still had scars, but hope started growing back, slow as spring grass. Late one evening, I found a rusted bracelet. Lilies, resting on top of the patched earth. No note, just forgiveness. The earth, it seemed, had found its peace. 3 months later, Emily entered an art contest, painting a cracked earth glowing with light. A little girl reaching up toward the sky. She called it the day the ground spoke. She won first prize, and in her speech, she dedicated it to every child who was silenced, every truth that refused to stay buried. And now, as the sun sets behind those once ominous fences, I finally feel at home. If you're still here, tell me which city you're watching from. Because evil, real evil, can hide anywhere. Behind white picket fences, manicured lawns, or a neighbor's plastic smile. But the truth? The truth always claws its way out. So if you believe in standing up for what's right, smash that like button. Share your own stories, your own moments of courage or injustice below. You can bury lies, but you can't bury the truth forever.